What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be taking a look at all new exotic weapons coming to Destiny 2. Now, this of course comes from the Destiny 2 World Gameplay Premiere, to which 3 different exotic weapons were playable with. Now, I actually got to capture gameplay with all 3 of these weapons, to which you will be seeing in the background. However, I will warn you guys, although we go over all these weapons and you get to see their perks and everything like that, the gameplay differs a little bit. Now, that's because it's just the way the cards were dealt. Only certain areas you could capture gameplay for, so although I got to play with all of these weapons, for example, you couldn't capture gameplay on the PC. So I used the exotic hand cannon a lot on the PC. I couldn't capture gameplay with it, and again, that's unfortunate, but still managed to capture gameplay with the 3, and that's what you're going to be seeing in today's video. So, let's begin with the weapon that I'm sure caught so many people's eye in the trailer, the Gatling Gun, which is actually an exotic auto rifle called the Sweet Business. This weapon has 2 different exotic perks, and I should explain what you're seeing here. Unfortunately, we couldn't go into the details of these weapons, like pressing triangles in the builds we were playing literally did nothing, so that is unfortunate. You can still read what the perks do, however, and it is very interesting that Payday seems to be a perk that is named and highlighted. However, the second perk isn't really. In fact, it's not even named. However, this second perk was definitely still in effect while playing the game. So in terms of stats, this weapon has pretty decent impact, a very low range, actually quite high stability, very low handling. Yes, handling is a new factor that's going to show up when you're looking at gun stats, and a very low reload. It starts out at 360 rounds per minute rate of fire, and again, that's something new that's being listed, the actual rounds per minute, instead of just listing the rate of fire on a bar. And it has a magazine of 90. The Payday perk says large mag, increased hipfire accuracy. The other perk makes it so that holding down the trigger boosts this weapon's range and rate of fire, and automatically loads ammo pickups into the magazine, which you will see sometimes in the background gameplay. Like, I go to reload the weapon and I don't need to reload because I've walked over some ammo and I'm already back up at 90, which is definitely like insane for PvE. You can just hold this thing down and not let go for a ridiculous amount of time. This was absolutely a really fun gun to use, but definitely more at home in PvE, simply because in PvP, well, you want your weapon to be doing its best right away. You don't want to have to start shooting a weapon that starts off not very good and then picks up its rate of fire and its range and actually starts doing good damage per second and can kill enemies fast. In PvP, you're going to be versing enemies that are doing maximum damage, with a scout rifle or a hand cannon right away. So that is an issue there. Also, something worth mentioning is that this weapon was quite good against bosses. Now, that's important because snipers are now in the heavy slot, so you're going to be really relying on your primary weapons, or in this case your kinetic weapons, to help take down bosses, and the Sweet Business is definitely going to be useful in that regard. Now, moving on, we have the Sunshot Exotic Hand Cannon. Unfortunately, this is really the one I didn't get a lot of gameplay with. However, according to the Sunshot's stats, it is a really good handling hand cannon. Like, the handling is super high on this weapon. Rounds per minute, 150, with a magazine size of 8. The main, exotic perk is Sunburn, explosive rounds, and highlights targets. This is backed up with another perk that's unnamed. Targets killed with Sunshot explode in solar energy. So kind of like Firefly, however, explode in solar energy. Well, that's going to be really good if there's a burn playlist. Like if you're doing a Nightfall with a solar burn and having your Firefly deal like more solar damage, that is a big deal. Now, although I am using this weapon in PvP, it was really more at home in PvE where I played it on the PC. This thing was really good. It was, I don't want to say Fatebringer-esque, but yeah, it was kind of Fatebringer-esque. Explosive rounds is still good in Destiny 2, very good, and then killing an enemy with the sunburn and then having them explode, like Firefly damaging multiple enemies at the same time, it was a very good weapon. Absolutely perfect for taking down those large groups of adds that you often find in PvE. And last up, we have the Riskrunner Submachine Gun. This weapon, it is kind of hard to tell what the stats mean because we don't have a lot to compare it to, but it did have relatively high impact, okay range, okay handling, good stability with kind of a poor reload. It shot at 750 rounds per minute, which is very interesting because in Destiny right now, the auto rifles go from 600 rounds per minute with the medium rate of fire ones all the way up to 900 with the fast firing archetype. So 750 is something that we haven't really seen in Destiny. The magazine is also 40. Now the exotic perks, firstly we have Arc Conductor. Taking arc damage increases weapon power. This is combined with an unnamed perk, making it so that when Arc Conductor is active, shots fired have the chance to become chain lightning and return ammo. Guys, that second perk is actually insane. When I got to play again on the PC, unfortunately I couldn't capture gameplay, but when I was using this thing at the final boss for the strike, the boss shot arc damage, and no joke, I would just stand there kind of moving side to side just enough so I wouldn't get hit for a lot of damage, but I would still kind of be getting hit. With the arc splash damage, I was shooting this weapon for like 200 rounds in a row. It just kept refilling constantly. Plus 40, plus 40, plus 40 for the magazine. I just never had to stop shooting until like another teammate took off the aggro of the boss. So this actually seems really good in PvE, actually. Like, it was amazing in PvE. However, it was also definitely the best of the exotics in PvP, to which you will be seeing some background gameplay with. It was really kind of like a pocket auto rifle. You were using a scout rifle or a pulse rifle as your kinetic weapon, your primary, and then you would switch to this thing when things got hairy, when things got close range, and it did pretty good work in that close range, so I definitely did like it in that regard as well. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see how exotic weapons get utilized in Destiny 2, and that's mainly because of the revamped gun system. We're now going to have kinetic weapons, and then energy weapons, and then power weapons. And kinetic weapons and energy weapons are somewhat interchangeable. Moreover, there's now going to be different effects for utilizing burn weapons and then normal kinetic weapons. A great example is that in PvP, and this has been confirmed by Bungie, if you're using an elemental weapon, it's going to do more damage versus supers. So swapping to that SMG like you saw me do, or that hand cannon, both of those exotics have burns. Running around with that as a secondary so you can swap to it and then do more damage if you see an incoming super, that is a really big deal in PvP. And what's also interesting is that if you were to put that SMG into Destiny right now, would it see play? Maybe not. Like, it might just not be as good as an IS Luna. But having it in that energy slot, having it essentially as that secondary and still being able to run a sniper or a shotgun or a fusion rifle in the power slot means that you're going to see some of the underused gun types in Destiny, like auto rifles and stuff like that, starting to appear more, because again, it was really useful being able to swap to an SMG or an auto rifle for those close range engagements, and then swap to a pulse rifle or a scout rifle for the long range engagements. And that is definitely going to really change how we see exotics being used in Destiny 2. And so guys, that's going to conclude our look at the 3 playable exotic weapons at the Destiny 2 gameplay premiere. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. Now, if you guys want to see more Destiny and Destiny 2 content, and if you actually want the subscribe button to do something, be sure to press the bell beside subscribe. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.